Alright, so it's been about 2 weeks since the last update, and I've made several changes to improve the system. The first and most obvious being the laying down of some roofing tar paper that I found as scrap in the crawl space from when we had our roof redone a few years back. So I put that down underneath the buckets to aid in weed control growing up between the buckets, so that I didn't have to try to weed eat or mow or put down any kind of harmful herbicides to kill off weeds. So trying to stick with the organic, all-natural method for the growing and not use any synthetic chemicals or pesticides or anything like that. But just want to give you a brief update on how everything's doing. This morning we had a big shock to the plants. We had a low temperature of about 38 degrees. So some of these little guys are not looking their absolute best, because the night before that we had a torrentious downpour and a lot of rain, thunderstorms, heavy wind, all that kind of stuff. But everybody is still doing very well. Sweet peppers down there. We've got our Japanese eggplant here. We've got our burgundy okra. Another burgundy okra there. You can see they're doing really well, getting big. It's still early in the season. We've got our Clemson okra, which we're still not sure. I have not bothered to look it up to see if that has anything to do with Clemson University, but we live in South Carolina, so we're saying it's patriotic. This here is our edamame, which is doing really well, and I've actually taken a clone of it and have it rooted inside because it was doing so well. I wanted to take some more cutting so I could help out some other people with some vegetables that were wanting to try edamame. These are our Gurney tomatoes. They are looking good and they are getting bigger. However, on the other side of this fence, we have our Burpee tomatoes. These again are the Gurney tomatoes, and I think they're looking good and everything. They're just a little stringy, but I think that's the genetics. I don't think it has anything to do with the way we're growing or anything like that, because when you look over here at these Burpee tomatoes that we ordered from Burpee, much denser, shorter, stockier, closer internodes, and developing a nice canopy, nice thick and full, short, stocky plants, which is what a lot of people are looking for to conserve space. And you can see that stem development is almost as big as my finger. So they are really looking good. We just have 2 of the Burpee tomatoes. We shared our order with another family member. Here are our Burpee pepper plants. As promised, they got planted in those end buckets. Those were the 4 empty buckets that you saw, I believe, just 2 weeks ago, and now they have these beautiful, lush, thick, healthy plants in them that are taking off really well. Got our scallop squash here. We weeded that down to just 2 plants in the bucket. There were about 4 or 5 in there, but we weeded it down to 2 so that we could get nice root structure and not worry about anybody choking each other out. This is our straight neck squash, which, take a look underneath there, zoom out just a little bit. There are blooms already forming right there in little clusters. A little bit of a dry leaf right there. We'll go ahead and pick that off. But doing really well. Nice thick stalk. Did really well through the heavy wind and storms that we had. This is our butternut squash, also weeded down to 2, and is doing very well. Nice thick green leaves. And then check this guy out. This is our summer squash. This puppy is just growing like crazy. And also, you can see those blossoms and bud sites where we'll start to get some summer squash. And I think it's going to be springtime when we get it. So, but doing really, really well. None of these plants have had to be weeded or any pesticides or anything put on them to date. They are completely natural and in the bucket with the organic fertilizer. This is our cucumber, also weeded down to just 2, and it's doing very well. And then this is a zucchini, which is just getting massive. It may be surpassing the summer squash. Again, look at all those bud sites for vegetables we'll be getting very soon, hopefully. But looking really good. Moving on down, this is our Roma tomato, which just yesterday was trimmed down to only 3 plants. I don't know if you can see in there where all the other cuttings were made, but I cut about a half dozen or more. There were right at 11 plants in there, so I guess a little more than a half dozen were cut out. Most of them were cloned, and you know, they were just cut yesterday, so they don't have roots yet, but sure they will be developing soon. This is our bush bean, which I've never grown before, but looks to be doing very well. It was also weeded down to just 1. And again, another bush bean, which seems to be doing very well in its bucket. We showed you a little bit before, compost barrel. It is still in full effect with some compost going. And then we also have our rain barrel, which is now hooked up to the gutter. And thanks to all of that beautiful rain we got the other day, as you can see, nice steady stream of water. It's completely full, all 50 gallons of it. And we've got one of our natural pesticides right there, little frog, which we have a lot of around here. And they're helping to keep the bug population in check. Moving on over here to our smart pots. Our blackberry plant is looking very promising, and it's in the air pot. It now has its strip tube connected. This is our blueberry, which is the only plant out of all our vegetables that I've put any pesticides on yet. As you can see, it was getting eaten up a little bit. Some worms or something liked it, and I decided to make some homemade pesticide that I made out of garlic, onions, cayenne, chili peppers, a little ½ ounce of 91% alcohol, and a 1 ounce of some all-natural vegetable-based Castle soap. That was our other blueberry bush, which has seemed to escape whatever was eaten on the other one, although it looks like we have a little damage here, so I may be applying some to that. This is our other blackberry bush, which is doing really well. This is called a triple crown blackberry, and I'm not 100%, but I almost think those are runners that have popped up. We have 3 runners, what looks like. They have the same leaf structure, so I'm not pulling them because I don't think they're weeds. I do think that they are runners that have popped up, and if so, we will be able to triple or quadruple the production because we'll basically have 4 plants growing. And just want to show you this lettuce, which is just doing amazing. Had a lot of people tell me that it was too hot and too late in the season to try lettuce. But this cool weather that we've been having, and this is the best spring that I can remember us having in a while. That's our broccoli right there, doing really well. we thinned out the broccoli and the lettuce last week by making our first salad. And let me tell you, if that's what lettuce is supposed to taste like, I have no idea what I've been eating for the last few years, because that lettuce right there tastes so sweet and so yummy. It needed no salad dressing. My little 2-year-old girl was eating it like it was candy. Got some basil that's sprouting up right there. Carrots are doing really well. But it was some of the best lettuce I've ever eaten, hands down. And very, very easy to grow. I put down that little piece of leftover fence, and it's growing up through it really nicely. And all we basically did was trim off everything that was above the fence, and made some very, very, very tasty salads with broccoli sprouts and lettuce sprouts and some specialty greens, and mixed a little cilantro in there from our herb garden. Water reservoir, still doing really well, still doing the same method. It's got the elbow there for the pressure relief that you saw from the last video. Still going strong. So that's basically the update. Oh, there's another little froggy. Hey, froggy! And they are, like I said, doing an awesome job at pest control, and been very happy with it. Show you over here, this is my mixture. I used organic, baby Organics, the type of stuff that we use to clean our house with. All natural, all-purpose house cleaner. Baby, family safe, almost edible, but still really does a good job at cleaning the house. Anyway, recycling the bottle. So post-consumer recycled bottle here. Shake it up a little bit. You can see a little of the fuzziness from the soap, but it doesn't fuzz up much, and definitely a nice rich color there from the cayenne peppers, which, if anybody's interested on how I made this in more detail, I'll be happy to give it to you. But that's basically it, and I hope everybody's enjoyed the update. And if you got any questions, please let me know. I'll be able to answer you the best I can, obviously. Also, I didn't really show you that before, but those are our onions that are down there going crazy. They were also very, very tasty in the salad. But yeah, everything's doing really well. Really happy with the setup, and looking forward to the results that I think we're going to get based on what we're seeing so far. So have a good day, and thank you very much.